Alright everyone, so this is an impromptu video of mine. Just a quick idea. I've always seen the videos on tier lists for Pokemon. I've always wanted to get into the sort of Poketuber sphere in itself. I just never figured out why, because you have so many Poketubers, so many great ones out there from True Green 7, you know, you have different people that do gameplays, stuff like that. I'll probably dabble into that, such as can you beat certain games with just one Pokemon, specifically the starters, which is why I have them on the cover today. As you can see, I'm on Google with them pulled up, and my thought process is for this video, which starter is actually best for the long term in game. Now you'll see me run through a few things, such as I might be scrolling through just to remember each specific generation's gym leaders, mainly generations 6 and 7 and 8, because I've only played 6 one time. 7 I've played on and off. I'm actually doing a playthrough again now for the first time in 2.5 years. So anyways, let's just start the video off. For a long term for Gen 1, I actually feel as though Bulbasaur is your best bet. Unless you're playing yellow and you have an open, range of all 3 starters plus Pikachu. So you pretty much can build Red's team and be on a good upswing. But personally, Bulbasaur, in the long term, Bulbasaur defeats both Brock and Misty, which are going to be your 2 biggest hurdles in game. And then from that point forward, Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon don't really affect Bulbasaur that deeply as far as in battle, because grass types are not really weak to electric attacks outside of maybe status effects. But this is Gen 1 we're talking about, so the original red and blue, it's just, you already know how that goes. As further down you go, you're going to run into Erica's team. Erica, by that point, you'll have a flying type. You'll have a wider range of flying types to take care of her. Koga's probably going to be your biggest threat, but you wouldn't lead with your Bulbasaur anyway, because by that point, you should be able to have a Lapras. You might could run a Tentacruel, Gyarados, different Pokemon that can neutralize that. If you're crazy and you want to have a Dratini on your team, that's fine. Just a sort of thing. Although having a Dratini, you would have to take it all the way to Dragonair and Dragonite, and that's a slow level up class. So I don't think you would really want to do that. In long term, not post game, but once you reach the champion red, he has an open thing of teams. But once you reach Giovanni, you could pretty much sweep Giovanni with just Venusaur at that point, which makes the only difference is you might also run into a problem with Koga as well. And then Elite Four, Lorelei, what are ice types, which you shouldn't lead with Bulbasaur in the first place. You could easily pick up an Growlithe and level them up to Arcanine, or have a Flareon on your team. At that point, you just have to build around the weaknesses of said starter. Now for Gen 2, I played through with a Typhlosion, but honestly, I'll give it to Feraligatr, just because Feraligatr can actually learn a lot of ice type moves, which would come in handy once you reach Claire. You can pick up an ice type Pokemon, but it's better to have a water type Pokemon, because when you first play through Johto, they don't really have that many Pokemon that really affect water types. Once you, gym leaders, excuse me, once you reach Kanto, that's when you'll run into Lieutenant Surge and Erica. But otherwise, you have what? The flying gym leader You have the ice gym leader. You have the steel gym leader. You have what is her name? The Miltank trainer. I forgot her name. The infamous Miltank. But at that point, you should pick up a Machop at least to sort of balance that out. And Feraligatr can learn a lot of very brutal moves, because picking Typhlosion is a very not so much risky thing, but you gotta be careful. Like currently I'm playing through Heart Gold with a Typhlosion, and he comes in good with Price's team from once you face Price. But honestly, you would rather have Feraligatr for the ice type moves such as Ice Fang, etc. Once you reach both Claire and Lance, he can easily take both of them out. Especially Lance, who runs a crazy Dragonite. For Gen 3, the best starter, unfortunately, is the most popular one, which is Chikorita into Blaziken. Into Blaziken, you run into a situation where it's dual type, meaning it's both going to be fighting and fire. You'll sweep through. If you, let's say, evolve your Chikorita into Combuskin, by the time you reach Roxanne, you'll have double kick, which means our rock types are pointless at that point. After that, you'll go to the fighting gym, which I mean you should be at least carrying one flying type. He's nothing. Then you'll reach Marvel City. Once you reach Marvel, you should be able, as long as you can take care of me really quickly. Once you reach Marvel, you got a fire type. He uses majority steel types, even though he's electric. They're dual type electric, steel, clean sweep. Once you reach, I believe her name is Flannery. With the Torkoal, you should at least have either a ground type or a water type to sort of balance that out with her and that Torkoal. But even then, I remember as a kid playing through and having a Blaziken by the time I reached her, and pretty much cleaning her, or even a Combuskin with just double kick alone, plus a health item to maybe boost the attack up of the move that you have. Easy once you reach, especially if you're playing Ruby or Sapphire, you're going to end up in a situation when you're playing Ruby and Sapphire where your final champion is going to be Steven Stone, and then you have he's straight steel type, so you pretty much going to clap him outside of his Credilli. At that point, you pretty much beat him instantly. Your biggest threat is going to be the 8th gym leader, which he's going to have be water type majority. So that's your big threat. But honestly, carrying a Roselia would actually be even much more beneficial. Roselia is a very underappreciated Pokemon to carry on someone's team. You could even have a Roselia on your team and still sort of make good on in the in-game playthrough. Now let's move on to Gen 4. With Gen 4, honestly, just running through them in my head. Your best chance of a starter would be, honestly, once again, fire type. Inferno is the only other fire type in the game. If you're playing Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, it opens up a lot more, but Diamond and Pearl, you have just Infernape and Rapidash as your final starters. That's the easiest. Once again, that dual fire fighting type is a can't miss prospect at all. Like, that is easy. Once again, you'll probably run into Rourke's team and probably beat them. Not too much of a struggle. You'll go to your biggest issue, your threat is going to be Crasher Week, but by that point you should at least have a Luxray or something like that to balance that out, because once again you cannot just depend on the starter. But this video is basically the best starter to sort of get you in the game a lot faster. You'll run into the champion, Cynthia. No matter what starter you pick, you're going to have a hard time with her. So it's no point. She's the best champion in Pokemon games history, in my opinion. I would have to replay. A lot of people are saying Leon, but Leon 50-50. I just have to replay Sword and Shield again to sort of re-evaluate that. But Furnip's easy for Gen 5. I'm currently playing through it again with an Oshawott, so for me so far it's been pretty easy. But if you really once again wanted to blaze through, your fire type is probably your best bet to sort of get through there quickly. But if you don't want to use Tepig, honestly, you could pick up an what's the other monkey's name? Darmanitan. You could pick up a Darmaka in the desert and get a Darmanitan and blaze through the entire game because of its brute strength alone. Would just be a different thing to deal with. Now for Gen 6, I don't remember playing Gen 6, but I'll tell you right now, Froakie is your best bet because Greninja is a beast, and Gen 6 honestly was not that hard of a game at all. Like, it is sad to say that. That's why I've only played it one time, because I felt like it was no point in even going back in and playing it if it didn't give me much of a challenge. Because honestly, once they put Mega Evolutions in the game, they top loaded you with Mega Evolutions. I was one of the first, I remember not one of the first people, but I remember I was pre-ordered the game, and when you pre-ordered it, you got the Blaziken with the Blazikenite already attached. So you coming in the game with 3 megas. You have Lucario, you have Latios, I believe it was Lucario, Blaziken, and another mega. You already overpowered as it is, so it's no point in even really playing it again. But if you didn't want to use the megas and all of that, once again, Greninja's your best bet. Gen 7, from what I recall, Gen 7, honestly, the fire type again. You gotta go with the fire type on this one, because it's no point in not going with the fire type. He's the first dark fire type starter. Can blaze through the Elite Four. Well, what are they? The tribal chiefs or whatever. Really quickly, get them in and out of your face. I was actually very disappointed with Decidueye because I ran through Sun and Moon with it. I mean, well, Sun with a Decidueye, and it was just disappointing. It was just a grass ghost type. I thought it would actually be pretty cool, but it wasn't. They didn't really balance him out properly. They could have done him a lot better in the way they did him. Honestly, the anchor is a lot better than grass. Anchor, is it? No, that thing is Ghost and Steel, I believe, but the anchor was much better than that as far as a ghost type in that game, outside of the puppet Pokemon Mimikyu. That's about it. Now for Gen 8, honestly, it's either one, because once you reach a certain point in the game, you're going to get the Gigantamax forms. Gigantamax Scorbunny's final evolution is actually really good. I remember trying to get into competitive when that game first came out, and then once the DLC came out, I thought I could do it again. Competitive is very hard to do if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're just trying to get in, because a lot of people run the same sort of team or team strats. It's very fun, it works the brain, but competitive Pokemon is very difficult to get into. I learned my lesson the hard way when I tried back in Gen 5, although I'll say I was pretty decent back then. But the game changed now. But honestly, for Gen 8, these starters are pretty much balanced out, I would say, into which you can pick any of them and still make it through the game pretty easily because Gen 8 is not that difficult. I say once Gen 5 happened, the difficulty in the Pokemon games declined, with honestly Gen 6 being the easiest of the games. Like, you don't even have to stress. If you want to play a quick Pokemon game and call it a day, that's the best one because half the gym leaders don't even have a full team. Half the Elite Four don't even have a full team, so there's no point. But I skipped something with Gen 5 on that front. If you're playing Black 2, I feel as though it doesn't matter what starter you pick because it opens up to a lot more past Pokemon if you want to play that style. So for Gen 5 specifically, I thought about that, and your biggest issue is going to be Iris the champion because she actually has a really good team. But otherwise, in that Gen 5, like I said, either Tepig is your best bet, Oshawott is your second. Third is Snivy because it's not really that good. I tried to play a couple months back with a Snivy. It didn't really work out. But that's the end of my video. Like I said, this is a spur of the moment video. I didn't really think it through. I'm just going off the top of my head with a lot of the Pokemon information that I have. So like and comment and just let me know.